Thanks to Events DC, we're able to take you behind the scenes on food, culture, and community right here in DC. They're helping make this podcast possible and helping shape the future of our city at the same time. Check out eventsdc.com to see what they're cooking up.
Order up. Another episode of In the Weeds podcast with Spike Mendelsohn.
Today, we're not just bringing you one powerhouse chef, we've got two. That's right, the culinary world hasn't seen this kind of family firepower since the Voltaggio Brothers redefined French cuisine in the 1960s. Together, these two have built empires, competed against each other on national TV, and proven that brotherhood in the kitchen can just be as explosive as it is inspiring. They're DMV born and bred. Think good Charlotte with knives. Welcome to the show, Bryan and Michael Voltaggio.
You know what's funny is we're actually working with Benji and Joel at Ocean's Calling in a couple weeks.
Are you?
So that's a great plug. Great plug.
I mean, you had to be a fan of those two when you were growing up, right?
Who wasn't?
Yeah.
I mean, and then when we got to meet them in LA and just do some, we actually did some, we did an event called Crab Cake where we all basically got Duff Goldman, myself, and Bryan and a few other people together, and we served crabs and cake. And we taught everyone in LA how to actually like clean blue crabs. You would think that like
that was the
people
funniest
showed
thing.
up dressed for the occasion, but not for that occasion.
Totally.
Like, they're like, oh wait, you want me to do what?
Those LA folks don't know that crab comes from a crustacean, probably.
Like, what's
They're
all
just
this
like-
red powder all over the outside, and why am I licking it off my fingers, and why are my lips on fire?
So you're back here in 2 weeks then?
Yeah, we'll be back here in 2 weeks.
Couple weeks.
Is that your first time doing that?
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, you know, it's in our backyard, like where we grew up.
Yeah.
But it's been like years in the making. We've done, you know, other festivals like this, but now it's the first time we're gonna be able to do it. You know,
Yeah, I
here in
think
our
like
backyard.
Amanda Freitag
Freitag, yeah.
does it a couple times, and Robert Irvine maybe
Yeah.
does
He'll
it.
be there this
He'll
year
do-
as
He
well.
does it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I went to see Jack Johnson at a show there. I think it was 2 years ago. It's a great.
I
festival.
haven't been to Ocean City, Maryland since senior week.
There's really no reason to go, to be honest, other than what you're going for. I mean, Ocean City is tough.
That's my last memory, I think, is throwing up Bud Light at like 8:30 in the morning and realizing that I'm just not a beer drinker anymore.
Hence the tequila brand we'll talk about at some point.
I was 18 years old.
Well, that's fun. I thought you were going to say we're cooking with the Voltaggio Brothers in a few weeks.
No, that would be
fun.
that would be cool too. Yeah.
Well, they had their sons. I think I went to culinary school with one of their grandsons.
You did?
At CIA. Yeah. He was like a little bit of pompous guy, a little bit, with carrying the Voltaggio name. But those guys are pretty epic.
Aren't they the sorrel sauce?
Yes.
Wasn't salmon with sorrel sauce?
That's exactly it.
We all stole that one.
Yes, the sorrel sauce, which is, tell people what sorrel sauce is, though.
For me, the way I figured out how to do it, and I'm not sure if it's accurate, but sorrel is obviously a very acidic herb, I guess I'll say. Wild grass kind of in a way, but if you just heat up some heavy cream and pour it over this, because sorrel turns brown really fast when you heat it, like mint. And somebody's like, well, you got to use something with fat. Just pour cream over it and blend it up, and boom, had sorrel sauce.
Done?
A couple knobs of butter, delicious on salmon. They were poaching their salmon in it, I think, or
Yeah, they did.
something like that.
We used to
Yeah,
do a
it was
sorrel soup at Bouchon in Yountville for Thomas, and it actually blew my mind. It was the first time I had ever messed with it, and it was and I was like, sorrel soup. I was trying to figure out what it was. It was basically potato leek soup, right, that you had made and held, and then to order, you would throw the potato leek soup, throw it in a blender, add sorrel, turn it bright fucking green, and then put it back on the plate and send it out.
And tell people to
Look
eat
creme
it
fraiche.
within 3 minutes,
With
or
3
you're
minutes,
gonna take
right
it away
back,
from them.
brown. But I'm so happy you guys are on the podcast. So first of all, thanks for coming in. I know you guys have crazy schedules. You're busy. I'm always amazed to see, because I keep up with you guys on Instagram and socials. I'm always amazed about you two because you guys are both on opposite sides of the country. You come from the same area. It's like, what are the odds that there would be two rock star chefs within one family and they're brothers? I mean, it's kind of, and so like, I want to discover a little bit how like this all happened. Like, where did it, like who started the food thing, like in your family?
I mean, that was Bryan.
Yeah.
So I'll let him take the
yeah.
beginning. I want to hear his half. I want his version of the story first.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Well, we started. I started as a busboy in a hotel in Frederick. It was a Holiday Inn. And what was going on in the kitchen looked like it was a lot more fun. There was like knives and cussing and banging pans and fire. And I asked the chef that was working there, this guy from Pittsburgh named Mike. I was like, hey, if I take this vocational program, will you let me cook? And he said yes. So then that started my career in it. Michael followed suit, became a busboy in the hotel.
Wait, how old were you?
I was 14 when I started,
So you're in high
15, 16 high school when
Yeah.
I started in the kitchen. And then Michael, when he was 14, he was able to start working at 14. So he came on board too. There's a day where I went with the sous chef to go play golf. And this is where it gets interesting.
This is
And,
good. Okay, you looked at it.
And so me and the sous chef told Michael, like, hey, Mike, the chef, wants you to come in tomorrow and try out in the kitchen, like work in the kitchen with him. So he came in, wearing a chef coat and walked into the kitchen, and we're off, mind you, we're playing golf and hanging out. And the chef comes up to Michael and says, what?
What is this, fucking Halloween?
That was like
Bryan
how
and
he
the other
was.
sous chef, they go to play golf. They didn't tell the executive chef that I was coming to start in
Filling
the
in
kitchen
for
the
us.
next day. So I pulled up dressed with my little uniform on. And that was the warm welcome that I received at the Holiday Inn back at the tender age of
14.
I think I was 15 at the time.
15.
Are you even old enough to work in the kitchen? Is that legal to use them? I was using the meat
used to be.
slicer.
Child labor laws
I
didn't
know
kick
that I
until
was
way
slicing
later.
meat on the meat slicer. So, but Brian was at the prestigious title of sous chef by 18 years old at the Holiday Inn in Frederick, Maryland.
Sous
he did
chef at
that.
the
Yeah,
Holiday
I rolled
Inn?
right up through the ranks.
But like, was there interest? Like, did you come from a family of food, like foodies? Like, was there like what was the food culture as a family? Like, was there interest there? Or, like, it seems like you guys have just driven this.
I think
on
the
your own.
ritual of having dinner was really important to our mother.
Yeah.
And she always, like, she worked full-time jobs. We played sports. Everyone has, sort of a story, but she made sure dinner was on the table every night. And
Yeah.
so for us, we didn't realize how important that was growing up because you don't see that a lot right now. A, there's no dinner table. That's like covered in mail and laundry. And B, everyone's like in front of a device or whatever and not eating dinner together. And just having that hour dedicated to that, I think is basically what got us into the idea or the ritual of dining. But working in the kitchen came out of necessity. I mean, we needed
Needed
clothes
rent,
and
money,
survive and
cars,
rent. Like I was living
clothes.
in an apartment while I was in high school at 16 years old paying rent.
Yeah.
Because he was moving out of state and he was in a lease and it was time for me to leave the house for other reasons. And
We know-
so
we
at 16
know
I
those
took
reasons.
Brian's lease over and I was paying rent, playing football and going to high school full time and working full time.
Yeah.
So
And dad wasn't in the picture, basically. Just kind of like
No, he
me at
was.
some point. Oh, he was. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
I mean, well, but and then
It
back
was,
up, back up a couple steps. I mean, literally 2 nights ago, Michael's in town. We're doing this dinner steakhouse. We, went in and did some prep in a day. So we had like an evening kind of, with our family or with mom, and she has her apron on and like has she has sauce cooking in the crock pot with some meatballs and like. She got to have dinner with the boys,
Yeah.
And our sister came over too. So it was
But
like,
then she got mad at us for not cooking dinner.
right, yeah, no.
She cooked us dinner and then got mad at us for not cooking dinner. Mom, it was delicious, by the way. I loved it. And that's why I didn't cook because I needed to eat your cooking.
But she still does it. You know what I mean? It's still that
Yeah.
sense of like she has all of her kids at the table having dinner together was special.
Oh, that
for
had
her.
to be awesome.
Yeah.
And so
No, it was fun.
sister, younger, older, in between?
Younger. Yeah, younger.
No
Younger.
food.
I'm
no
the middle.
Not into food, anything.
No, she was. She worked as a pastry chef for
Oh,
a
she
while.
did?
Yeah, she worked with us at one point, and
wow.
she went to culinary school down in Florida, and then moved back up to this area and worked.
The
With
problem there was Brian was her boss, and
Yeah.
she
So stop, here we go.
that she chose the wrong brother to go spend her time with in the kitchen.
Okay.
And he's such a motivating leader,
Such a motivating
role model.
leader.
Did I come here to get beat up?
I think he didn't realize that was his sister.
This isn't an intervention,
And-
by the way. I
No,
just want to
okay,
let you
cool.
know.
Awesome.
Nah, she
No.
just, she had a family. She has a family and she has kids, and she, you know,
Yeah.
I think she saw the lack of availability that we experienced,
Yeah.
with our own families.
For
and
sure.
I think that she realized that that's not what she wanted to do with her family. And I
Yeah.
think she's an incredible mother, and she started baking because her son has a lot of food allergies, and she didn't want him to miss out. And so the hospitality behind her reasoning for getting into the business was to be able to bake things for him that he saw other kids eat that he wasn't able to eat.
Yeah. Was
And,
it nut allergies?
Nut
or
and eggs.
Nut, eggs,
eggs,
yeah.
gluten or something?
No,
maybe?
just eggs.
nut-
But eggs are big. I mean,
Eggs are huge, yeah, it's in everything.
Majority of baked goods,
Yeah.
right? So, so she found ways to work around it.
And then she was really good at it.
Yeah. So you guys, the Holiday Inn was the first stint.
Yeah.
First thing ever. All right. So I mean,
Yeah,
by the
that's
way,
a big start.
Amazing
I had one
to
other
have
job.
on the resume. You do-
One other job
Yeah.
before. The only job was not in hospitality. I washed motorcycles at a Harley Davidson shop when I was 13. I was under the table. And that was because I wanted baseball
He
cards.
also delivered
Getting
pizzas
cash
when he was in culinary
Shamanos.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a
Domino's.
company that rhymes with Shimamanos.
Shimamanos.
Yeah.
We
I was in
don't
Wappinger
talk about the
Falls.
D word
The one
here.
you probably ordered with CIA.
Yeah,
'Cause-
totally.
I went down to that one so that way nobody at school could order pizza from me. I didn't want to show up in my little hat. Like, it's
you
a
guys
great
did-
job. I mean, it's a great job.
You
but
guys didn't go
for
to
a college
school,
kid,
though, right?
I did. I went to CIA.
Oh, you went to CIA. You
Yeah.
didn't.
I didn't.
Okay. Well, that's a big difference. Like one of you,
Well,
I didn't know how to get there.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't afford it, and
Yeah.
I didn't know
Neither could I at
how
the
I
time.
was gonna. Brian's obviously he's a lot better at the things like that's why he handles a lot of our business.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to get a student loan and do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I just was trying to figure it out at that point, and then I got this phone call, and I got to go try out for an apprenticeship. I'm pointing like everyone knows what I'm pointing at. I'm pointing at a blue curtain. It's over there. To go do an apprenticeship at the Greenbrier Hotel in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. So I went down there and did that for like 3 years. And then in the wintertime, I would go to New York and hang out with him because he was up there working for Charlie Palmer. And
So that was your next. That was your next job after the holiday.
Yeah, I went to Oriole right after.
Yeah. So what? Okay. But where was culinary school?
Oh, I was in between. So
Yeah.
I actually worked for this company that moved me to Indiana, Pennsylvania for a short period of time, which is in the middle of like, I don't know, nowhere in Pittsburgh.
Nowhere.
I was actually a chef of a hotel. Like before I was 20.
Yeah.
Before I could even drink. And so, not that it matters, but my point is like young.
Yeah.
Right? And I talked to GM there, and he was like, "Look, I mean, really, I'd love to keep you, but is this what you really want to do?" And I was like, "No, I want to pursue something more." So, him and a few other people encouraged me to go to culinary school. So I figured it out, because I had to work for a few years, kind of claim independence, I get my own loans and figure that
Yeah.
out, right? So, ended up enrolling, and then I graduated in '99 and moved straight to New York.
Did you why did you choose the culinary? Like, did you have a connection there? Did someone recommend you there? Or like,
Well, I took a vocational program in high school, and we used the professional chef. That was a textbook we used.
Yeah.
In Frederick, where we went to high school, and that's what we cooked out of. And there's an instructor. Her name was Susan Garfield. I'll never forget. She always preached this school. She's like, this is, if you're going to go and you want to be a chef and be a professional, go to this school.
Yeah.
And so somehow that just resonated with me. So I looked at other schools
Yeah.
for affordability, but I had my mindset
set's
on
on, like, the
CIA.
Harvard
the most
culinary school.
prestigious program in the
course.
country at the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's where that's where everybody went.
Yeah.
At least that's what they told us back then. That's what you were supposed
I
to
mean,
do.
that's where I went. I mean, like, I was lucky enough that I was struggling too around the same age. I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do.
Right.
I got involved in drugs and bullshit and all these other things. But I went back to work at my parents' restaurant for a year, and they were like, "You put in another year here, we'll send you to whatever culinary school." So I picked I was lucky.
Right.
Yeah, I was
Like,
lucky.
fine. If you're going to do that, then send me
Go-
the most expensive one.
I'll go to Poughkeepsie, Potown.
Yeah.
Culinary school is interesting. I mean, CIA is great. I
is.
think above everything, that school, the network has lived
The
on.
network, yeah.
Right? It's like like the training and the lessons is all good and gravy,
Mm-hmm.
but as you know, it's like on job training is the best, right? So
But that was the thing. And, I never thought that I would be able to, you're looking at Food Arts Magazine and or Culinary, like all of these like amazing chefs or New York City. I'll never forget driving in there the first time, but somehow I got the door open because I went to CIA. So I got to go and stage,
Totally.
for an internship or externship program. And, that got me into Oriole. It got me into working with Charlie because I was at that school and he was a part of it as well.
Yeah.
And so, the networking, helps, but I paid to go to school. He got paid, and to go to school. And
but I think
he
what
has
we
the
divide and
same
conquer.
doors
You guys
open.
divide and conquer.
I think
like
what
it.
we discovered during that time, though, is we hadn't been exposed to like any real form of luxury at that
Right.
point in our life, and
Yeah.
so our first sort of intro to luxury was in hospitality, working in luxury.
Yeah.
And I went to the Greenbrier and did my apprenticeship. He went to the CIA, which had that same type of prestigious sort of militant discipline.
Totally. Militant, yeah, sure.
Look at me with a vocabulary.
Boom.
Food
We don't
service.
have to
wore
go to
toques-
college to use
toques
the.
and neckerchiefs,
We don't have to go to college to use those big.
But I think
big
that part
words.
was and still is important. I think that there's a period where you go from not fully understanding what your purpose is in this environment to dreaming one day to get to go there and be a customer. And I think that was the part that really resonated with me. I was like, well, wow, these people are living, this food that they get to eat is
Totally.
amazing. And we get to eat the scraps at the end of the day and stuff like that, family meal and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And we got to get creative. But like, I knew that there was something about all of it that I needed to know more about. And so we just, I don't know, we kept going.
Yeah, and so what was the cuisine and who's the chef at the Greenbrier at the time then?
The chef his name's Peter. His name was Peter Timmins. He passed away, but he was like this master chef from Ireland and just this like hardcore.
Yeah.
And like I just made it my mission to become like somebody that he was. I needed his approval for me to continue in this path. And when I did my apprenticeship there, I ended up one of the youngest people to ever go into that program. I went there when I was like 19, graduated at 21, and by the way, made a baby while I was there. So I had my first child while I was
that
there
happened.
at 21 years old, making $10.11 an hour. And I would do things like butcher deer in the side of the mountain to make money in the wintertime too. And then I would go up to New York and hang out with him and then go cook up there and just...
What do you mean you butchered deers in the winter? Just
because
like
I needed cash. So I would... The
hunters
butcher
would
in the
drop 'em
hotel
off to
would
him.
take off.
Oh, really?
He would take off every winter, and he had a walk-in refrigerator in his front yard. And I would go in there and wear coveralls and gloves and cut up deer that people would shoot in the mountains.
You have to hang them and bleed them first?
They would,
or they would do that for you before
they would come and do that outside. That part I wasn't certified for that part yet.
Yeah, I grew up with that, like from my grandfather. Like I'd wake up and there was a deer hanging in the.
I was breaking the animal down after the skin, hide. You take the hide off, and they got all the blood out. I then broke it down. This is gross. I cut. We're chefs. I know, but you have a vegetarian
We're not sponsored by PETA. I'm not vegetarian though.
But it was. We would eat like a pot of brown beans and cornbread and use the carcasses as like our lunch table. And I just remember sitting outside freezing my ass off, thinking to myself, like, is this as far as I'm gonna go? have I gotten there already?
Yeah.
And the beans were delicious though, and the cornbread was fresh. So I was stoked at the time. But what I didn't realize was, again, it was just another step in the journey, you know.
Totally.
It was another piece of education that I didn't know was going to be super valuable down the road.
Yeah. So he's fabricating deer on a porch, eating beans. You're at Charlie Palmer's at this point.
Well, no, at that time I was actually, I could have been. I mean, I was
whatever.
I was in culinary school.
In culinary school.
Yeah, I was in like a lab breaking down meat in a nice little butcher room.
Yeah, getting nice meals. This guy did the fancy.
Sorry. And then, but I did do my externship in New York, and that's when I moved down. So it's like halfway through school.
Where did you do externship at?
At Oriole. And then that's when Michael, he came up. At that time, he went and worked at American Place for Larry Forgione.
Oh, yeah. Larry.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had Larry Forgione chops there.
Yeah,
How many years were you with him?
Just a year.
He's a legend.
It was incredible because I had heard about him obviously through Bryan, and back then, like, we used to, you know this, we used to trade notebooks and go get recipes, and you hear about these chefs, and they had a cookbook. You were like, wow, that was the TV star back then for us. It was the people with the cookbooks, and so learning about him and getting to go work for him and getting to be in New York, like, I never went to New York until I went to go live there with no place to live, and just like we actually shared. This kid that Bryan was in school with, their parents owned an apartment building on Mulberry Street, a rent-controlled apartment building in Chinatown. It was like a 6th-floor walk-up. Yeah. 6 or 8 of us with bunk beds in a 2-bedroom apartment with 1 bathroom, and we got to stay there if we did work on the walls and stuff.
We had to like paint.
We had to paint.
You had to paint, renovate while you were...
do that, yeah. And then the shower, like, it was like a hokey-pokey shower because you didn't know if it was going to be hot or cold, so you're like... You turn on the water and you like stick your right leg in and then you pull it out. You're never fully showering.
Totally.
And I'm like cutting fish at work, coming home. You know what it's like to be a
dude. And like the funny part is like
mincing garlic.
Yeah,
like,
it's funny. Like your chef's first like move to New York is always like a story similar to yours, right? Is like shitty part. Like mine, for instance. I went to New York. I worked at Le Cirque as a poissonnier. And then, but in the mornings, because I was dead broke as well, I worked for Michael. What's his name? Bobby's best friend, Michael
Simon.
Oh.
When he had a restaurant. Remember when
he
had a restaurant back in the day? I was his butcher. I was his morning butcher for when he opened up his restaurant. And I was living in Astoria in a bed bug infested apartment, dude. Oh, wow. It was like the worst fucking.
Delicious.
I mean, we had to move out. I usually slept with my girlfriends because it was so bad. But I mean, so you're at Ariel now after culinary school.
Right.
Where were you at? You're in New York-ish?
Then left, went back to the Greenbrier, and then from there ended up at the Ritz-Carlton in Naples, Florida.
Okay.
And ironically enough, I was working in the banquet kitchen. I made it into the fine dining, the grill room, and then there was the dining room, 2 lines next to each other. An American chef named Sonny Sweetman on the grill room, and a French chef named Arnaud Bertelier in the dining room. And I worked in the grill room, hung who had one Top Chef, and Kevin Spraga,
Love Hung.
who also had one Top Chef. All three of us were working on those lines together at the same time.
Yeah.
So me, Hung, Kevin, all together in the same kitchen, and I ended up going from the grill room to the dining room, and then eventually got to become the chef of that restaurant.
That's so crazy that you guys were all there around the same time. And you, so at Ariel, what was it like?
I was still there. So for me, I stayed in New York all the way up until like 2003. But I got to work under a couple different chefs. I worked under Charlie, and then Charlie kind of, relinquished the kitchen as he started to expand, and he went to Vegas and then started opening up other restaurants. A friend and, a chef I worked for, is no longer with us, Jerry Hayden. I worked for him for a long time. That's when I got my first sous chef position in New York.
Was that like classical French training?
Yeah,
a
I
little
think a
bit
lot of
with
it.
an American twist. Like, what was the cuisine at the time?
For sure.
then?
I mean, Charlie's background's always been like, he called it progressive American at the time, and I think kind of still leans into that. But it was definitely always influenced by French technique and using ingredients from Hudson Valley and region of New York, right? And then when Jerry came in, he gave it a new perspective, so I didn't leave. I could have. And I was like, why would I go? Because I get to absorb from somebody else's mind while staying in a really good, comfortable spot. Right?
Yeah, totally.
So I did that. And then once Jerry left, he went to open his own space. Then another chef named Dante Bucuzzi came in, who's, he's in Ohio now, several different restaurants. He came in and brought a lot of influence because he worked for Nobu for a while. He worked, actually with Michael Mina. What was a restaurant they had in San Francisco at the time? Aqua. I think it was Aqua.
Aqua.
Yeah, Aqua.
Yeah,
he worked at Aqua. So he brought a whole nother new perspective to the menu. So I was like, I'm not going to leave again. So I stayed for another few years. And then after that, Charlie sent me down to DC in 2003 to open up Charlie Palmer Steak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to DC, back home. And so it's interesting. And during this time, are you guys like meeting up and communicating and sharing?
We were barely talking to each
Were
other.
you? I was,
Yeah.
I was,
Not
I was
because of any animosity or anything
Yeah.
like that. We were just going in we were sprinting in
Right.
two different directions.
Yeah.
I don't know why we decided to do that, but
Yeah.
it was kind of like when he went to culinary school and I went to the Greenbrier, it was like, that's just what happened.
Yeah.
And you get busy. I mean, when you're that young and you don't have money and you're working 100 hours a week
just
trying to
grinding.
figure out what's
Yeah.
next, it's like we disappeared
Yeah.
from everyone.
And you had a child too at that point.
And now I'm a father,
Yeah.
and living in Florida, and then having a second child
Yeah.
before I'm 25 years old.
So a lot of walking meetups, huh? With you?
yeah. And
Where did you meet your first your first
at when I was in.
Were you married or were you just dating?
We did. We got married.
Yeah.
I was at the Greenbrier. I was like super young, and that was the right thing to do. I mean, that's what I was supposed to do. So
Yeah.
that's what I did. I was too young to know if I was ready
Yeah.
for that or not, but it happened, and so I did what I should have done, and I just worked harder.
Yeah, of course.
And then a lot of years just went by real fast.
Yeah.
But then I got this opportunity. I was in Florida, and
Your daughter's a doctor now too, though, right? Or
she
something
just
like
passed
that?
her boards.
Did she?
yeah.
I just saw that.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, I was like, that's
Super
got to make you
cool.
feel amazing.
Yeah.
I was like,
Bryan called me, and Charlie was looking for a chef in Sonoma, in Healdsburg, California, rather. And so I flew out there. And at the time, I had gone and staged at the French Laundry for a month, a little bit over a month, and because I wanted to work in all these restaurants, I really did, but I couldn't afford it. Like,
Yeah.
I just couldn't afford to do it. I now have 2 kids, and I'm 25 years old at this time,
dude.
So
And
I
back
would
then,
go,
people were working for free.
yeah,
also.
so I would
Like,
go
it's-
do that
yeah,
as
yeah.
many times as I could a year. So I'd go spend a month there. I'd save up. I'd leave and go work somewhere for a month, and then go. Finally, Charlie gave me a position as the executive chef in Healdsburg,
Yeah.
at Dry Creek Kitchen, and I was 25. Worked there for almost 2 years, and at 20, ended up getting a Michelin star there. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was
I
about
was
to
like,
say.
wait, okay. I went from Holiday Inn to the Greenbrier to the Ritz-Carlton. Spent some time in New York, and then ended up with the legend Charlie Palmer, and we get this Michelin star
Yeah.
together at this.
What was the
restaurant.
cuisine there? A little different from Ariel?
It was interesting. It was very different, and that was the point of contention, because Bryan and everyone was like, they came up in that camp, and Charlie I kind of just went to California to go run that restaurant because there was a need for a chef there at the time, and Charlie kind of just I kind of just went there and just did my own thing.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna like. But then he would come and like everything was, he didn't write, like, he's like, what is all this stuff on the menu? Where did this come from? And so he would call Bryan and basically yell at me through Bryan. So Bryan would call me and be like, dude, what the fuck? And then Dante, who Bryan was working with, would also call me and be like, dude, Charlie's not happy with you right now. What's going on? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm the chef. I'm supposed to like make the food. I'm just making the food. And we never had a disconnect in that because the restaurant was doing really well at the time, and I think we were having a lot of fun. And it was just.
But no Michelin star at this point, right? When you got the call, like, what the fuck are you doing?
No.
No. Okay. All right.
No. Like, why are you making all your sauces out of chicken stock, and why are you only buying chicken feet and turkey necks to make your chicken stock?
So what was the thought process behind that? Because what was he like classical beef stock reduction sauces, and what was you had like a different perspective on it?
It wasn't like he didn't like what I was doing. I think that I was doing things differently than all the other chefs that had been working directly under him and learned everything his way and then adapted their styles from that at that time.
Yeah.
I was kind of just thrown into it, and these guys didn't tell me shit. They were like, and then one day Charlie comes in and the ice machine's empty, and he grabs a screwdriver. He's like, why is the ice machine empty? I'm like, chef, I don't know. I've been calling like the repair company for months. He gets a screwdriver, unscrews it, and like 15 minutes later, the thing's full of ice. And I was like, that's why I'm working for Charlie Palmer right there. And
because he knows how to fix an ice machine.
Because he's a chef.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was where that was the part of my career that I think was missing, was like how to be an entrepreneur, how to run a kitchen, how to do it with the intensity that it requires, but also like not everything comes just by picking up the phone. Like you need to figure this shit out. And I ended up having a great time working with Charlie, and he's both of our mentors. He's always been so good to us. He's always been so generous with that information. He wanted us to learn how to become chefs, real chefs, not like he wanted us to see the other side of
like
career.
A jack of all trades chef.
The hard part.
Yeah, the hard part.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of what you say. Like usually people are like chefs. Oh, you just get to deal with food, but you're actually like running a business, and you have to do so much more than just do food. You know what I mean? You have to manage fucking people, you fucking machines breaking down all the time. And so as the older brother, when he's going through this different path, are you at any point like, what the fuck are you doing? Or are you trying to like what was the vibe? Or were you just like, it's Michael, he's on his own path? Like,
yeah, no, I mean, I obviously, I was extremely proud of him. He was able to go out there and, really make an impact, open that restaurant, or, be a part of that restaurant and, get a Michelin star. And then becomes, I have to admit, it's like, wait a minute, that's something I did not get. You know what I mean?
Totally,
so we each start,
dude, a Michelin star
chasing.
At what age?
I was 26, I think.
I mean, that's pretty impressive. I mean, very impressive. I mean,
right. And they weren't even, in this area.
I got lucky.
Right?
I got lucky. I was just making food.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I was just like,
but the thing becomes like, it's not like, there was like, no, we got to go out one up, but it was like more like, am I doing the right thing with what I'm doing now? You know what I mean? And I'm not sure. You know what I mean? So I started second guessing, like, what am I doing in my career? And I very much was running a very busy restaurant, and I'm very proud of the restaurant I opened and worked for Charlie. I was there, I built it. He gave me essentially the keys, and I was there from construction and opening and writing the first menu, and he let me actually, much like Michael did out there, write the menu with influence.
Yeah.
But, let me talk to, media and actually, be a part of the process of building the brand. And so, that gave me, after 5 years of doing that, and actually I ran as a GM and chef for a while because we didn't have one, saved him a few bucks, but made my days longer, which is cool. But then it gave me the keys to like, and the know-how to go and open up my own space. And that's when I left in 2008 and moved back to Frederick, back home, and opened Volt. So
who gave you the keys?
Well, I mean, Charlie kind of gave me like the inspiration, like
to
the
be like,
knowledge,
you're
the
ready
know-how
to go
and do it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll never forget. There was a time where my wife and him were sitting at the bar at Charlie Palmer Steak.
Were you married while you were at?
I was married. Yeah.
Okay.
I got married in 2004. So we so this is 2007 and a half, I don't know, somewhere around there.
No kids yet.
We just had our first kid.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and we're sitting there. It's like after kind of like late service because of some kind of event. So my wife came down, was a part of it. And I got up and I left to go to the restroom. And I don't know what I did. I probably put a shit in all the chairs, picked up a napkin on the floor. I don't know. I did something. And he, looked at her and said, I already know that he's not going to be here much longer. He's going to go and do his own thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't 6 months later. That's why I was like, hey, here's my resignation. I'm going to go open a restaurant.
I think he prepared us for that. And I
did.
think that ice machine and those moments and that ability to like let us, you know, sort of cook the food that within reason that we wanted to cook to sort of identify, I don't know, figure out what our culinary, what is your culinary point of view? I don't know, whatever. The same interview questions that everyone asks you all the time. And it's like, he really, I think, set us up to be able to become what we are now. And I think that is some of the most valuable time in our career, because Charlie had really high expectations of us. And it wasn't that he demanded anything from us. I think that he knew what we were capable of. And so he let us do it and didn't really micromanage it until it was time. You know, he needed to. He needed to step in and say, like, okay, wait, I want this, I want that. And he was very much, he's a chef, you know?
Yeah. I think you guys got lucky with a guy like Charlie, because, I mean, there's a lot of guys, like, in his position with his accolades that aren't like that. Like, they don't want you fucking around with the menu. They don't want you to take liberty or you know, they're uninterested in grooming you unless it serves them first and foremost. Do you know what I mean? And there's a lot of
his
the guys
was
in the
less
business.
ego and more expectation.
Yeah.
And that's what I really got from that experience.
Yeah. So, all right. So then, fucking, you're opening up your own restaurant. Is this is this the one I came and trained to before I got kicked off of Iron Chef?
Maybe. I don't know.
Do you remember I
thought
came?
you kicked him off the line at the restaurant. I'm like, oh, you guys need a moment? You want me to step out?
No, I was so pompous. I was like, I had opened up, I don't know what it was, but like I was driving fancy cars at some point in my life, like that were not my cars. They were just basically my investor's cars. He had like a Bentley, he had like a Lamborghini, and I had asked Bryan if I could go stage a couple of days because I was doing Iron Chef.
You're doing Iron Chef,
Superstars or something like that. And I was like, I would drive a Bentley to your restaurant.
I know, right?
I would drive a Bentley to his restaurant, and then I would go work.
Like,
and,
you a stage here? What?
yeah, I was like, I don't know, I remember making like glass noodles for some clam dish that you had or something.
Oh yeah, the clam chowder. Yeah,
the clam chowder dish or something like that. But and then I got kicked off like the first episode, so it was like, fuck.
Sorry.
No,
Hopefully
it wasn't your fault. It was me.
But you got to drive a Bentley.
Listen. Point of the story here is I got to drive Bentley.
Exactly.
He was driving an F-150.
Maybe a Jeep Wrangler. I don't know. I can't
No,
remember.
I think
at
you
the
had
time.
your the Volt thing at did you have
the Volt? Yeah, I had that.
deal at
Yeah,
that
I was one
point?
I was one of the first people to have one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're all right. So you feel like you've put it in, and now you're like, this is a big move. You're moving from working from somebody to owning your own restaurant and doing your own business, right?
It's the scariest thing I ever did.
Yeah. And so you opened up.
Opened Volt in 2008 in August, and in September the shit hit the fan. I don't know if you remember the economy back then, but it wasn't good, right? So like, cool. I opened a fine dining restaurant in the suburbs of DC, 45 minutes from DC and Baltimore, and
And doing everything from start to finish.
Yes.
I mean, you were fucking making, I remember you guys, like, he was making iced tea, ice cubes. For iced tea.
That's funny that you remember that.
I remember the details, my man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And now I drink just iced tea.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, he
no,
was.
no
Oh yeah, let's
needed.
time for a sponsorship. You were even like you were ironing your own fucking tablecloths.
Yeah, we're doing and me literally ironing tablecloths
upstairs.
And the crazy thing was, like, I went into this town, and there wasn't like huge pedigree of like people like coming in who were like cooks and chefs. So like we really had to like dig deep and train there, like, and create something. So it was hard.
Yeah,
it's not like you move into like a big city and you're just putting ads out and you're getting all these great cooks coming, because you're a new hotspot. Like, we had to build a team. Yeah, and it was difficult. But we made it happen. Got through like, I don't know, 6-8 months of the first year.
Who'd you partner up with for that restaurant then? Did you partner?
I had several partners in there.
Okay.
Yeah, like there's 18, several different partners in the restaurant. And then that's when, Michael was out back, he left, he was out west, and went to LA. And
no.
That was...
I went back to West Virginia again.
Oh, you went back?
I went
that's
back
right.
to the Greenbrier because they were like...
Third time? Second time. You went...
Second.
Okay, so second time back.
Moved back there because my family, my kids their grandparents and stuff were there. So I went back there. They were going to let me like build a restaurant in the hotel. So they were building a restaurant. They were going to let me conceptualize it and be like the fine dining chef of the hotel. I got to go to Spain and like make the plates and like do travel, and like the experience was incredible. But then I'm like, at this time, this was when modern food was really starting to become popular in the U.S. like in a big way. Like Grant was in Chicago, you know, Alinea was popping off, and like all these restaurants were opening now with like that type of food. So then I was obsessed with like trying to cook that food. Yeah. So now I'm in West Virginia trying to cook that kind of food at like an old American prestigious like.
What do you have, like the El Bulli cookbook on in the kitchen? All that. You're doing the whole thing.
And so I'm there like teaching myself and trying to figure out how to make that food, because that's what I was interested in at the time. And so that restaurant was open for like one season, and then they were like, I think we're gonna turn this into a steakhouse. And so
what were the things like on the menu there though? Like you remember
I was making like a pineapple jelly that I was bruleeing, that was warm, that I would serve with like lamb perfectly sliced and like stacked around it, and I was making lamb belly dehydrated pancetta and sticking it into the jelly, and like it was like I was trying to do what I thought was
but you were self-taught in the modern
I was studying piece. But then I went and like I went and staged at Alinea for I went there for like a month. I would go to these places because I wanted to work in those type of restaurants so bad, but I'm a father of 2 and I'm still not 30 yet, and I needed to make money. So I put myself in situations where I could go get that information, and then I would just practice.
Is the stage still alive these days?
I don't think that's illegal. I don't think it ever was. I think now people are they just no.
Dude, don't you think they're missing out on like? 100%. Don't you think young cooks are like some of the best times of my life was staging. Like I remember when I was working in New York, and same thing. I want the stage. I had it figured out. I was like, Le Bernardin's like family meal on Wednesdays was like fucking pizza, and I was like, I'm staging fucking Wednesday nights at fucking Eric Repair's restaurant because I'm gonna eat pizza afterwards for free, right? And it was just like, I just had so much fun, and just like sitting and like, who cares if you were just cutting chives or on the baton station? You like keep your eyes open, ask a ton of questions, and learn a fucking ton of shit, but it doesn't happen anymore.
When I got the stage at Alinea, I just remember like Grant Achatz, obviously his chef, Curtis Duffy was working there at the time, John Shields, Jordan Kahn.
Jordan Kahn. Did he work at Le Cirque for a while?
Stu Peck. I mean, the people that were like
just there, right?
And I'm like, I was like, wow, these guys are cool. And then all of a sudden now they're all the most like famous people in that style, you know, obviously that are out there. And I just have so much respect for all those guys. But just I think that was the hardest part about now is like at the time, these moments in our careers when you look around and you're experiencing it and you don't realize how impactful that was going to be eventually. And just getting to cook on the line with all those guys.
Totally.
I was there working for free, and I was basically going to stay there as long as I could afford to, and then on to the next. But like, what an amazing experience to be so grateful for, to be around such talented people and not even realize it. And just, I don't know. I mean, it was incredible. But then from there, when they told me that we weren't going to cook that kind of food in the mountains of West Virginia anymore, I got a call to go cook for Jose, to come down to DC here and make lunch for him to try out for this position in Los Angeles. He was opening the Bazaar, the first one. And I thought that I was getting the call to go cook to open up Sam, which was like a small, intimate dining room within the Bazaar that was only fine dining and tasting menu. And Jose, I went down, cooked lunch, and he's like, no, you're interviewing for all of the Bazaar. And I'm like, I don't know how to, I've never done something this big. And he was like, it's okay. And I think what I loved about that moment was my introduction to him was me cooking for him, and then meeting the family, the team at the time, Ruben and Katsuya and all those guys that were there. And we all got to go out there, and I worked here with everyone at Think Food Group for a year. I got to work at Zatini. I got to work at American Place. Cafe Atlantico. I got to work at Minibar. Haleo, Oyamel. I had to work in all of his restaurants for a year.
So you were training here for a year.
Before we opened Bazaar.
Before you opened Bazaar in LA.
And so then I went out to LA when construction was almost done, and
that's when I met you. The year you were working for Jose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I had come on this, I had abandoned ship on French cuisine and fine dining, and I opened up Good Stuff Eatery. Right. For the first time, I threw a party, and I don't know if you came, but
we hung out.
You came.
We had
you hung out.
We had a good night.
Time. We had a good. I remember I was so like, I I was in my own head. I was just like, I remember you specifically coming in because I was like, I mean, it was weird to open up just a burger place after you go training for so long. You know, you think you're going to open a restaurant like you're doing, right? Or something like that. And I just opened up a burger place. I had like a little self-conscious about it, you know, to be honest with you. I was just like, this is weird. I felt like a little bit of a sellout. I went on Top Chef. I opened up like a fast casual burger chain. Then you guys come rolling in, and I'm like, oh my God, what do these guys think about me? Like, do they think I'm like fucking a hack or a sellout? I was in my own head.
No, I thought you were very smart.
Did you? Okay.
Yes,
All right.
100%.
I was just like, but you know, we all have our own insecurities at some point in the business, right? And like mine was kind of abandoning the brigade system, right? And owning like a fucking, you know, I wanted to get Michelin stars when I was a younger guy. Like that was the biz. I went working for Thomas Keller. I worked for like the Mascioni family. I was just working for chefs to get there, to give that all up eventually and just to go on a reality show. Like I fucking had anxiety about. So
Yeah, we went through that part too.
Yeah.
I want to actually get to that actually, because I would have never guessed that you specifically, I don't think we had met quite yet.
Yeah.
That you would have gone and done a show.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I in my mind, like, you know, Michael Voltaggio was no nonsense. Like doesn't want to fuck around with these bullshit shows, but you know,
It's almost like you know the timeline, because right about where we are and what we're discussing is about where that all happened.
Yeah,
You
right.
know, when he was, you know, I mean, you could finish because you went out and you opened Bazaar.
Yeah.
And then that's about that time.
No, but I knew that I wasn't going to get to go work. Like, I wanted to work in those restaurants, like the ones I staged in.
Yeah.
I wanted to work at Alinea. I wanted to work at French Laundry. I wanted to work in all those places. I wanted those guys to, like, accept me.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, I
totally,
was so,
totally.
like, and it never happened because I couldn't afford to do it.
Yeah.
And so, but I still wanted to cook that kind of food. So I just kept with it and kept studying. And then when I ended up with Jose, he just opened everything up to where I got to absorb so much information so fast.
Yeah.
So your question is, how did I step away from that? And like,
Yeah, I mean, like we don't have to go there right there, but eventually that is the question. Like, I want to learn a little bit more about what you were doing at Bazaar in LA, and I know Marcel used to work for you there too, or something like that, at the Bazaar in LA. But yeah,
No,
I mean,
back to, you know, when I was choosing to go to do my externship, and, you know, I'm glad I took my path and I worked for Charlie. I mean, I too wanted to work for Thomas. I remember there was a kid named Matt who was in my class. You know, I was on AM that time, and that's sort of right around where we're trying to. It was right when that book came out too.
Yeah.
Right. And I
the Bouchon book or the French Laundry?
No, the French Laundry book. And I
okay.
was like, I want nothing more than to go work here.
everyone wanted to.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you know how I got my job at Bouchon in Yountville? Is because a lot of his investors are actually from DC, which I didn't realize. And my sister, I think my sister told me, she's like, hey, and she knew I wanted to go work at the French Laundry, and she's like, hey, Thomas is putting an investor dinner on, right? Or I think it was at like one of the fancy hotels here. And she's like, you should probably go and see if you can get a job. And so I basically snuck into this like investor dinner, right, with all older people. And I had my fucking cookbook, my French Laundry cookbook underneath the table. And I just sat at any open seat I saw, right? I sat at open seat. Everybody's kind of looking at me. And I see Thomas is going around table to table greeting everybody. And he gets to the table where I'm sat at. And I'm like all fucking full of anxiety. And he finally gets to me. I'm like, hey, chef. I was like, my name's Spike Mendelsohn. I was like, I'd really appreciate if you sign my cookbook, and I'd love to work with you. I'm here for, I want to apply to work for you. And he kind of looks at me. He's like, you're not really supposed to be here at this dinner, are you? And I'm like, you kind of got me. He's like, okay. So he signs his book, walks away. And then he sends Andrew Cerciello, I think was his number 2 back in the day. Do you know that guy?
No,
Andrew
I don't
Cerciello.
know.
So Cerciello comes to me and he puts his hand on my shoulder. He's like, hey, man. He's like, commendable that you got in here. He's like, I have to ask you to leave. This is like a private closed dinner. And here's my business card. Give me a shout. Maybe let's do this the proper way. Yeah. And so basically through that interaction, that's basically how I got to work at Bouchon. I never got to make it to the French Laundry because, as you know, it's like a fucking lineup.
Yeah.
So they, you know, if they want to give you the chance at the French Laundry, they hire you at Bouchon. If you do good enough at Bouchon and you wait out the fucking time, then you could potentially get to the French Laundry. I never got there.
Yeah,
So
a bit much like what Michael was saying, at that time, for externships, you weren't getting paid.
Yeah.
So, I moved to New York, even though it was so expensive to work there, I got paid $5 an hour, but I still had a car to pay for. I still had school to pay for. Like I was paying to go to school.
Yeah.
And, it was really difficult. I had to make money. Like there's no way I could go 18 weeks or whatever it was that we did the externship for and not get paid.
Yeah.
Like I was working 40, 50 hours a week while I was at school.
Yeah.
So I gave that up. I didn't go out there.
Yeah.
And I went to New York, which I'm glad I did. But
yeah, I mean, you can't look back and have regrets. I mean, like
No,
I ended
no.
up leaving
But it's,
Bouchon and ended up working at Le Cirque in New York, and like started my career in New York. So.
But it's a big commitment, to work at that level, and try to get in at that young age. Do you have to you have to give up a lot of time and, also
a lot of time,
try
and
to
there's
figure out
a
how to
whole
put
lot
yourself
of
through it.
yes chef mentality over there in
Yeah.
Yountville. we chef. Looking for your next big event, concert, or culinary adventure? Check out eventsdc.com to see what they're cooking up. What's your guys' stance on the We Chef?
I mean, I do miss a lot. I miss a lot of that right now because
Yeah.
I think the way that we did it, the way that we all kind of came up back then was part of that was what I fell in love with.
Yeah.
Because I never had structure like that, real structure like that in my life. And I think just getting to be a part of that during that time is one of my favorite. Like I loved it and hated it at the same time,
100%.
and it was, again, like idolizing these people that I knew that I was never going to get to be like, but even just getting to like stop in for a little while and just see into their world because I wanted it so badly. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Like we both did that part where we're going to get this information somehow.
Yeah.
And no one's going to hand it to us, and we're going to go find it, and then we'll take it back to work. And every time we go somewhere, like if we can pick something up and take it home, and that was kind of the responsibility, was like, go get the information.
Yeah.
Go learn how to cook.
Yeah.
And I think now that's changed to like, go learn how to become famous, but then cook a little bit so that you have like a skill
So you have
attached
the
to it.
creds.
So
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
and we were trying to survive, and food was working in restaurants, and cooking was how we did that.
Yeah.
And so all those experiences, they were hard.
Yeah.
I needed that level of seriousness in my life at that point, though.
Yeah.
I needed it.
Yeah. So did you accomplish everything you wanted with Volt?
It ran for, almost 15 years,
Yeah.
which is quite a long time. I mean, the funny thing is when I was at CIA, you do that where you build a restaurant, right? Do you remember that part?
Oh,
Where
yeah.
You actually have to design one. I designed an old brownstone in Frederick, Maryland. It was called Spires, something
Yeah.
to do with Frederick. And I wrote a menu for it, and the style of service and the things that I did there were part of that project. And I never knew I was, after I graduated, worked for Charlie for so long, went down and opened one of his restaurants. You're talking almost 10 years. I think after I graduated, it was 94. Yeah, about 8 years. I opened that restaurant in a lot of ways. And so, did I feel like I accomplished it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I set out at some point in my career at culinary school and envisioned that I would do something like this.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that was the accomplishment I made. And a lot of great cooks, went through there. A lot of, great memories and friends. And, I've served so many guests that are still clients of ours now, with our new restaurants that we have in the region, still get to come over and be a part of their lives. So, yeah, I think I did.
Yeah.
Was it hard? Yeah, it was. I mean, does it suck to close a restaurant? Yeah. But I'm glad I did it.
It's part of the business, closing
It is.
restaurants. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the more you come to terms with that, I mean, like there's very few that don't close their restaurants for. I mean, like I always reference Eric Reparo. I mean, the guy did one. I mean, he's done a couple consulting, but he's had one restaurant that really represents him for like the last 30 years.
Yeah.
La Bernardin has been open, so it's hard. So when did it all come falling down or up? I guess like when did you decide to do the show? Like together? Like what? Like
So I was at Bazaar and Marcel Vigneron, and at this time, Top Chef was really starting to like.
get up? Yeah.
People were watching it. They were paying
Yeah,
attention to
yeah.
it. And to your point earlier, people were like, "Oh, those people aren't serious chefs." Blah blah blah. But then Marcel, it was quite interesting because a lot of people didn't know what his resume was. I mean,
Yeah.
he worked at Robuchon. He kind of followed in similar. He was trying to go do some of the same stuff we were doing. or trying to do rather. And he ended up at Bazaar with us as a sous chef. Us meaning, I was with Jose and those guys, and he really just wanted to be a part of something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is really cool. I was like a fan of his. Marcel was coming in to interview to be my sous chef, and I was like a fan of him from being on TV. Because I was like, back then, I didn't know anyone on television. I just moved to LA.
Yeah.
When you see I was still from Maryland.
Totally.
Like, holy shit, that guy's on TV.
Yeah.
And so I remember being nervous interviewing him, and then he ended up being an incredible sous chef for us.
Yeah.
And one day we're on the pass, and that's where the food goes out. And we were busting balls or whatever, talking back and forth. And he was like, well, if you think what I did was this or that, why don't you go try to do it? And I'm like, I will.
Yeah.
Like, how do I get on the show? And
I love that.
so I sent in my little email, and I went through the whole casting. I sent my little video, and like, I don't know, I took some, like, at the time, like what I thought were thirst trap photos of myself at the beach, and I'm like,
Totally.
they're gonna put me on Top Chef. And like, so I send all this stuff in and forget about it, thinking like it's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
There was no insider trading or anything like that. I was just like, I'm gonna send it in like everyone else, and that was the process. But then what was funny was I got a phone call, and they were like, hey, this is the casting producers of Top Chef. You have a brother, huh?
Oh, those fucking.
Can we have his contact? Can we have his number?
They already
and
know
they were
they
like,
want-
it was. I can't remember. They weren't like, oh, we're gonna cast him for the show or anything. They were just kind of like, yeah, we're going through all your references and blah blah blah. Can we just get your brother's phone number? He's a chef too. It wasn't real. The picture wasn't fully painted yet at the time. And then, I mean, you saw what happened after that.
Totally. It's so funny because Marcel is the reason I did Top Chef as well.
So this is all his fault.
It's all his fault. It's all his fault. Marcel and I met at culinary school. My first day at culinary school, we met at the, I think it was the Hobnobbin or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Hobnobbin across the street, the bar?
Yeah.
And we instantly became like best friends. I think it was like, do you throw a Frisbee? I was like, yeah, I throw a Frisbee. Do you smoke a joint? He was like, yeah. I was like, great. Did we just and we just hung out. But once I saw him do the show, right, I was like on he did second season.
Yeah.
Right.
Second season, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, because I knew he was super talented. To your point, like he had put in some of the work and worked at some amazing places, and I was his sous chef at culinary school for one of the restaurants at some point, and so I was like, if he's doing it, maybe I should kind of look at doing it as well. So I applied for season 3. They said no, and then called me for 4. So
I think he was the first person to go on TV and like cook that kind of food.
Totally.
And that's where I was like, oh, wait. And then you see I was seeing how people responded to him in the restaurant. They were like, Jose Andres is standing there. I'm there as the chef, executive chef. Everyone's walking up to talk to Marcel.
yeah.
And I'm like, this isn't
Totally.
This is wild.
Isn't it wild? Yeah.
That's Jose Andre. Like, I knew about Jose because I'm a chef, and I studied him because of that. I mean, obviously, he's larger than life, this amazing giant human being now.
Yeah.
But then I
It's so weird that you say that though. Like that blows my mind. Like it's Jose and you.
We had an open
there.
kitchen.
And like I remember, I actually went there when you guys were there. I had a meal there, and you're right. Marcel was commanding attention as a sous chef in a restaurant under other chef. It's crazy.
and I had never seen anything like that, and I was just like, wow, this is gonna evolve.
Yeah.
Like this part of our industry is gonna become really important someday.
Yeah.
And like it or not,
Yeah.
it's going to happen because now we're starting to see this stuff on television, and it's only going to take that curiosity further and further and further. And so, no, I didn't want to be on TV ever. Like
Yeah.
it was never.
It was in the
you
cards.
said earlier,
Yeah.
like, oh, you're so too chefy or whatever to like go do that. I could see. I was like, maybe we can bridge this gap. And you got to understand, like, I thought Emerald, like watching Emerald or watching Julia or watching some of these people that were cooking serious food on TV. I was always intrigued, and we all have that same story.
Totally.
Like, seeing that.
Yeah.
But I never knew that restaurant chefs, I never thought that was going to, I thought they were just, that was a one thing that was going to happen, and like there wasn't going to be this massive.
Let's all get
thing.
on
Yeah.
reality cooking competition shows, like basically.
And getting to go do that and then doing it against this guy was hard. It was a real.
So what did you
it was hard.
like? So what? Like how did? Yeah, like you were like.
I got a phone call. I'll never forget it. It was the glass circular PDR room that we had at Volt. We're 7 months into opening. You know, mind you, we opened in 2008. Right?
Yeah.
The economy sucks. We're like, are we going to be able to like get through this first year? And Hunter calls me. He's like, "Hey, you want to come on Top Chef and kick your brother's ass?" And I'm like, "Oh, great, here we go." So I'm like losing my mind. I'm like, I worked my entire career to open this restaurant. It's 7 months old. How am I going to leave? Fortunately, I had a sous chef, who was there, who I felt like could have capable hands in doing it, but I think we barely got a review. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is a huge gamble. Like to go and leave for what they told you at that time was like 6 weeks or 5 weeks or whatever it was going to be to go do this. And, it wasn't like I don't even think we had a discussion about it, because it wasn't like, hey, you're going to do it, we're going to do it. I can't really remember how it all went down.
They told us not to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were like, we're following the rules.
Like, well,
so secretive because we didn't have social to the degree we have now.
I could get sued and lose everything that I don't have.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Like, threaten you with like, you're going to get sued if you talk to anybody, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. Like I can't get sued. I got kids. I got a wife, you know what I mean? Or one kid at a time. So
I just went back and judged, and I'll tell you what, like the contestants now have it made.
Oh, it's
softer. Like I hadn't been back on the show in years, and I just went to go judge in Canada, and I was just like, wait, why do these guys have their phones?
Yeah,
like
I
what?
know.
Wait,
yeah.
Why? Like they can just go to the bathroom by themselves? Like they sequestered the shit out of us.
Yeah,
like back in
they did.
Yeah.
So I said yes. We had to go out. Do the whole thing, cast, film. The whole like there's 30 people in front of you. I'm in LA and like a Ramada somewhere, or I can't remember where they put us.
We're
like
all
next
there
to
at the
LAX.
Ramada. Yeah, exactly.
And there's like 14 people, and I'm like sitting here in one chair, like getting interviewed. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
was it Leah? Wasn't she part of the culinary team? Wasn't she driving that?
Yeah,
Leanne.
I think so. Leanne was culinary team at the time. Yeah. And I went through it. I'm like, I don't know what happened. I get back on the plane. I fly back home, and he called me and said, you're getting on a plane. You're going to Vegas. So I went.
It's a good season. You guys, your season, was a fantastic season. I think it's like season 4. I think we started getting like I was right before you. You guys were season 5, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, we were 6.
6. At 6, it was like top of marketing and PR. I mean, it was national.
They won an Emmy that season.
They did, right?
Yeah.
They won an Emmy that season.
I was on the line at Inc., my restaurant in LA, and my mom called me because I think they played a clip or something that my mom ended up being on. Right. During the Emmys or something. I don't know what it was, but she calls, I'm in service getting the shit kicked out of me, and she's like, we just won an Emmy. I'm like, no, we didn't. Because if I was even part of that, I'd be sitting there right now with them getting their Emmy. So
yeah, exactly.
we were just the story or part of the story. But and then it hit then it really started to sink in because you start to have that imposter syndrome where it's like, oh, now I did this thing on TV. Mm-hmm. Now I'm one of those, and there was that. There was
that, right?
This,
I wasn't making that up. I was like, they're
all the cool, really good chefs that were getting all the accolades. They didn't do TV, and now we just stepped into that. And by the way, this is now immediately what everyone knows us for now. So everything that we had done for the 15 years leading up to that point in our career, we'd been cooking for 15 years,
kind of erased.
Has just been erased, and we're those guys from Top Chef.
100%.
And that's our label. For a long time.
I was the guy from Top Chef that opened a burger place.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
we just put our heads down and just started cooking more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's what we had to do.
Well, Michael, that's what. So what was the reaction? So you did Top Chef. You got this. Were you prepared for all the media and marketing that was coming your way? Like, did you? No.
I mean, just like the volume.
It saved your restaurant.
Yeah,
it really
for
did.
sure. It definitely saved the restaurant.
It did.
Oh yeah, I got back, and then once that aired in that following fall.
Instantly busy.
Yeah. Instantly busy. Like I was in Frederick, and every day or every week we're front page of a local newspaper about this competition that we're a part of, and it immediately took something where I felt like I opened a restaurant where somebody thought I was an outsider, even though I grew up there.
Yeah,
I went to high school there. It just because of what we tried to build there as a restaurant was very different, and Frederick didn't experience anything like that. It now gave them something to root for. So now they started to support the restaurant, and it completely flipped a script.
Yeah.
And that was just an incredible feeling because I wanted to be a part of the community. I wanted this to be a part of everybody's lives. I wanted to be the place they celebrated, where they came for anniversaries and birthdays, and or every day even. But it definitely changed the landscape.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, the same thing. It's when the light bulb went out like went on like halfway, I'd say, because I didn't quite fully understand the power of marketing, right? And the power of getting on television and like what it can do for your businesses. Again, like Good Stuff Eater had lines around the corner for like 5 years. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, it was crazy, but I mean, it was definitely a lot to take on. I mean, at the same time, you had to like kind of adjust, and the anxiety of like having that syndrome that you don't like, did I just throw away my entire career?
It was
like,
really hard to figure out where you fit in at that point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to your point, like after Good Stuff, I opened up We the Pizza, and then I was just fucking tired of the Top Chef stuff and the pizza. And I was like, dude, I'm going to go open up the Dream Bistro I wanted to open up my entire life, right? Like I'd worked on Bouchon, I worked at a ton of restaurants, and I opened up Bernays. Mm-hmm. It's the worst mistake I ever did, right? I was like, one of my best restaurants I've ever done.
Great restaurant.
Yeah, the food was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
One of the worst fucking decisions business-wise I ever did. I was like, I almost felt like I went the opposite way a little bit. And it took a little while to like come to terms with that and just be okay with where you are in life. Do you know what I mean? So, so you guys were still working separately though. Like you'd won the show.
Yeah.
You're still working separately. And then at what point? Why were you kept on doing the show, right? Haven't you been on a couple times now?
Well, I did Top Chef Master Season 5. That was the last one. And then I did 17 All Stars. They asked me to come back, and I did it.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
They just asked me to do seniors or something like that.
Seniors? I'm sure.
I don't know.
Is there one?
They're talking about doing one other like of all the old school guys. I was like, they're like, would you be interested if we potentially did another show? And I'm like, I don't think so, guys.
Done.
But
no
yeah.
So I did it a couple of times. I went to finale all 3 times.
Yeah.
Never won.
Fuckers should have given it to you once at least.
Nah, it's fine. I'll tell you. I'm always second
Who were the
place.
other 2 contestants then?
So
got the finals
it was,
with you?
So I was with Doug Keane. And on Masters, I was LA, and then Melissa won All Stars.
Oh,
so
Melissa who?
Melissa King.
I don't even know who that is. She's like going crazy.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Is she?
Yeah, great.
Where's she?
She's out in San Fran area. Greek cook. I don't know if she has a spot right now, but she's working on something, and she's got a new book that just came out. Or it's coming out now this fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys do the show. You're thrown into the limelight, marketing and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What are the next? Like, what are you doing? What were the next steps? Like,
I went to Pasadena and was working at the Langham Hotel. I went back to like what I was doing at the Ritz-Carlton in Naples, Florida, 10 years prior or whatever it was, and was a fine dining chef of the hotel.
Yeah.
And just wanted to, because I saw what was happening at Bazaar with Marcel, and I don't know. I didn't think that going back to Bazaar and having that happen in Jose's restaurant was going to be acceptable. Like,
yeah.
Not that he cared. I don't think he cared at all. But like, I had so much respect for him in that restaurant and the work that we had all put into that place that I didn't think it was appropriate to bring that back there.
So meaning that like you didn't want to overshadow him?
No, I didn't want to be in an open kitchen in the middle of Los Angeles coming off of a TV show like that and then having that define whatever the next few months or years of my career would look like.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go away from Los Angeles proper, go out to Pasadena, and I was responsible for a dinner-only restaurant 5 nights a week. That was fine dining, and it was my job to do everything from bread all the way through to the final dessert. So I went out there and just cooked.
Yeah. Put your head down and just did it.
Everything.
But in some way, don't you feel like you might have inspired Jose a little bit to start melding into, because like soon after that, he became a judge on the show, right? Multiple times. And he started, I mean, like.
It was still weird. Like, not weird. It was still like kind of, that separation was still there. It was like you're on TV or you're like, if you're on TV, you're a hack or you're a whatever.
Totally.
And like, you're never going to be taken seriously as a chef and all that kind of stuff. And it was just, I don't know. It was an interesting kind of time because if you look at the industry today, now it's more important to be doing all that, not to us, not to me, not obviously, but like, how many followers do you have now? And it's like, then you ask for their resume and it's like, oh, I just started cooking last week. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
And, like,
and then they followed up, well, what can you do for me? I'm like, what am I doing for you?
Right.
Yeah.
Are you applying to work with me for me? Like, what are you talking about?
but not that part. I mean, just skipping a lot of the hard part that it takes to get to that visibility.
Yeah.
It's very easy to become visible without having to go through the sleeping on the floors in New York,
Sure,
and the traveling and the compromises and the being broke, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And by
really
the way, being
going
a
out there
father
and
like,
learning how to cook.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I felt like I had a responsibility to go back to that until I figured out what I was going to do next, which ultimately was going to be to follow in his footsteps and open my own restaurant.
Yeah. And so, okay, so then at what point did you close? At what point did you, I guess what I'm trying to get to, at what point did you guys decide that you're better to work together than separately? Like, you know, like you've both had amazing careers and trainings and backgrounds separately. You came together to do the show. And then afterwards, there's a couple years that you're still doing things separately. But when did it click to be like, what the fuck are we doing? We should.
I mean, the first time we ever did it, we kind of dipped our toe. We did a consulting project in Mumbai, India. That was the first time we ever did anything that would be collaborating on a restaurant together.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just conceptual. We're consultants. We're going to do it. And it was interesting. We got up to a certain point, and then, you know, they launched the brand and we were done. Then we're still trying to figure it out. Like we're still
competitive against each
competitive.
other.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Because that part of it didn't wear off after the show. It was like we're now, now we believe the same narrative that they've sort of created, and we're competing against each other in life now.
Yeah.
That's what happened immediately after the show.
Is that what happened? So the show really
Yes.
kind of, oh, really? So you guys were.
Well, because we were already kind of doing it leading up to that point in
Yeah.
our careers. It was like,
A
you're
little
doing this,
bit,
I'm
though,
doing
right?
that, you're
Yeah.
doing this, I'm doing that. And now we're literally competing against each other. And then, like, I don't know. It just...
When they
we
casted-
started to believe that narrative, too.
Yeah.
When they casted
Yeah.
that season for season 6, they kind of leaned on the James Beard Awards that year.
Yeah.
Okay, they went to the list. We were both nominated for Best New Restaurant,
Yeah.
Bazaar and Volt.
Yeah.
You know, in respective coasts. And then they figured out, hey, they're both brothers, right?
Yeah.
So, like, that
Did any
never
of you win
stuck.
the James Beard, or?
No, I got to final. That was it. So we get to the point where, like, that's all done. He won. We're back in our respective restaurants. He's going to go and open up one. And yeah, we have our heads down and we're both trying to chase more. I mean, we're still cooking for ourselves and, you know, I guess ego a little bit at that point.
Yeah.
And then there's a time where, you know, fast forward to where we are now.
Can you define that though, real quick? What do you, when you say we cook for our ego, what are you?
I think cooking for ourselves. Like these are dishes that you know, we're conceptualizing whatever it's inspired by, but, you know,
Because we hope to be like those guys that we were all that we were going to stage for. We wanted that. Like
Yeah, you wanted your own dishes, your own.
yes.
Like, yeah.
Own style or own cuisine.
style, your own
like,
cuisine.
you know, people would looking to us in the industry, not necessarily our guests,
Yeah.
to give us the, you know, I guess the, you know, validation that we're looking for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because going back to what we're saying, these guys just came off of TV. They're just these Top Chef guys.
Yes.
We're
Yeah.
looking for validation from our industry.
Totally.
Not necessarily our guests.
Yes.
I mean, even though it was important to us because we had to fill the restaurant and the seats, but I think that's what we were looking for at the time.
So
I think we
validation
wanted to
from
see
your
if-
industry rather than from your guests. Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, I mean, it was partially there. It was
Well, we're not
weighing
saying,
on.
like,
it was
fuck the
weighing on-
guests, like,
no,
we-
but it was
yeah,
weighing
yeah.
on our mind. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Because of what TV did to us.
I
Totally.
think we were trying to see if we could bridge that gap.
Yes.
Yeah.
If real chefs could be doing both, like, could you do both?
Yeah.
Can you be on TV and do that part, and can you also like run a restaurant that people also like? Can you cover all of your customer base?
Totally.
Like, can you get everyone excited about what you're doing?
We
Exactly.
wanted to prove that we could do that.
Yeah.
And that's where the ego sort of driven sort of like we needed to prove that point came from.
Yeah.
And we were both doing it, you know, individually. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like,
yeah.
because it was, you know, we both got thrown into this, and it was something that, you know, I mean, you know how it was. Like,
Totally.
you know,
I mean, I
it
went through-
completely changes your life overnight.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so we did that for a while, right? And, you know, it got messy. We opened restaurants, closed restaurants, like did all these different things,
But
chasing
your
that stuff.
relationship still intact, or was it all about beating each other in some fashion?
I don't know that we really had a real, like, as brothers, we didn't have a relationship about that at that time.
Yeah.
We were sibling rivals.
Yeah.
For real.
Totally, yeah.
And I think the shittiest part about that was I don't know. I don't believe that either one of us was rooting for the other one at that point.
Yeah.
And that's dark.
Yeah. 100%.
Because that I always wanted his approval. You know what I mean? At that
Totally,
time.
especially
and I'm sure like, and then I was getting
I
to cook
wanted the
cool
same.
food, and I got to work with Jose and like blah blah blah. So there was this like, I mean, I'm not going to speak for you, but anytime somebody else did something, then there was the jealousy or the this or the
sure.
that came with it. And so we were battling through a lot of that shit at that time.
Yeah. No, I feel it. I mean, I battle it against people that aren't my brother. Do you know what I mean? Like other chefs, like, at the same type of competitiveness a little bit. I was like, fuck,
Why did
this
they
guy.
get that
Why
opportunity?
did he get that opportunity? Or what?
So imagine that being your literal brother.
No, but
like,
but it still happened. There's things that came. He got GQ Best New. You got Food
I remember when he
Wine.
got you. I was like, fuck him. I
got-
was like, I think I'm a little bit better. No,
No, I did not have that conversation.
Yeah,
Just
just-
nice try. You got Food and Wine. You know what I mean? Like, and all of those things came, and I'm like, shit. Like, I never got any of those things.
Totally.
And not that it mattered, and I didn't try. I'm like, do I need to now try harder? Like, it was like, it was great because it was healthy because like, it continued, for us to pursue a lot of things and get better at what we do in our career and like as cooks. But it also felt like, obviously we were not connecting in a way that we should and could have.
Yeah.
I felt like there could have, when you look back, it's easier for us to say now we could have wasted a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because, and there's no regrets because I'm very happy with where we are,
Sure,
what we've done,
yeah.
what we've accomplished. We've been able to do so many things giving back. There's so many things we've been able to do.
Well, it feels
right?
like we all kind of got caught up, whether it was Marcel, me, you guys, or any others, for a certain moment of time. There was a huge shift happening on the way people look at chefs and restaurants and so forth, right? Meaning that like we used to never be able to come out of the front of the house. We all know those days, right? And then like, for instance, I always give it up to Shep because he's credited with inventing the celebrity chef and getting chefs to come be
still
respected.
feel weird going
right.
out.
Exactly, right? You still feel weird. But then along came a guy named Anthony Bourdain that wrote this book that gave it like a really inside look of the restaurant industry. And I'd say that was like maybe the first time the common people that not in our industry, right, got a little glimpse of what the industry was like. And like just the reaction to that book inspired a slew of like people like myself to go to culinary school. Like
For sure.
I wanted to fucking follow in the path of Anthony Bourdain. That's why I went to Vietnam for 2 years. It's because he fucking wrote about it, right? And I wanted to do what he did. And then came this whole thing about reality television with chefs, right? Which was like a whole other thing. And now there's a show called The Bear, which I feel like is giving a whole other glimpse of the ins and outs and the stresses of the restaurant industry, right? So it's just kind of weird how we've evolved as like cooks, chefs in this business, and now we're just getting destroyed with inflation and fucking a minimum wage. And fucking
It's not funny.
Yeah, it's
but
not funny.
yes,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just turned it dark real fast.
No, but that's a good point because there are those frustrations, but I think a lot of us that were there, back then in those days, and certainly the ones before us, like we loved it too.
yes,
Yeah.
And that's the part that I think we have a responsibility now to communicate is that we still love it.
we still love it.
There's still something about being in the shits and service. And like last night we were cooking together at the steakhouse and it was like we showed up and we set up our stations and Bryan and I, like we cooked. I worked one station, he worked another station, and another one of our chefs worked the other station, and the cooks just kind of helped us.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. Like it
Yeah.
was so fun. And like it's easy to like, I think we can get caught up in complaining about, and I'm not saying anyone in this room is doing that, but it's sort of happening in the industry. We're all struggling.
Yeah,
But somebody has to be the cheerleader.
Yes.
And somebody has to speak up on behalf of the times and what it was like and why we loved it at the time that we loved it. And I think that's part of what we should be teaching in our kitchens is like, yes, this is how you cut an onion. This is how you cook a whatever. This is how you make short ribs, sous vide, or whatever it is. But also, this is how you love it too.
yes,
And because I did, and I do, and I still do. And I think that even we're all friends because, we're related, but you and I, we met in this industry.
Exactly.
And a lot of our friends and those relationships were built. Whatever direction you went in this career, you've crossed paths with so many different types of people. And what a gift that is.
such a gift.
And that's the part about this industry that no one can take away from us.
Yeah.
Yes, it's going to get harder. It's getting more expensive, but we're creative. And I think as creatives, we need to create solutions and and then teach those.
Yeah. Well, it's part of the reason, it's so funny, I'm sitting here in a podcast with you guys and it's reminding me why I wanted to do this podcast in the first place, is that I felt like we weren't having enough real conversations about the industry and like what happens and the trials and tribulations, but also all the good stuff, like all the memories that we have and we've created and all the amazing things that we've accomplished. And yes, this fucking business is tough and we can always cry about it and it's never going to change. It's always going to be tough. There's always going to be something against what we're doing, right? But the fact that like, man, I wouldn't switch up my life or my experiences for anything in the world because I just love it, right? And I love the people I've gotten to meet, the people I've gotten to bond with, all the different styles of food that I've been able to like learn and eat and enjoy. And I always tell people like this is like the worst but best business in the world to be in. So,
but you asked earlier. Sorry, you asked like when did we decide to come together?
Yes.
And be partners and all that stuff. And I think that's a really good lesson, I think, for everyone to hear because we were rooting against each other. We were going in very different directions. But if you think about what our industry is about, it's about hospitality. It's about taking care of people. Our jobs take care of people. We're related and we stopped taking care of each other. And I think that when you look at the amount of rivalries within our industry and what you said earlier too, it's like, why does that person get to do that? Or why does that at whatever level, and I'll compare this to food because somebody said to me once, you have to be as excited about, now I know foie gras you can't really say that word anymore, but somebody said to me, you have to be as excited about a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or a turkey club sandwich or whatever it is as you are about cooking a piece of foie gras or making truffles and caviar or whatever it is. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. You have to love all food.
Yeah.
And I would say that we have to love all levels of this industry the same way. Like no one's better than someone else. So we need to stop that part.
Yeah.
It's like, and there's also this like chefs at one level won't talk to chefs that are at that level. And like, but meanwhile, like, and I remember that I look up to a lot of those guys. And then sometimes, and no one that I've talked about today, but sometimes you meet some people that you thought were your hero and then you meet them and you're like, wow, that person's like incredibly mean. Like why are you so angry?
Yes.
And it's like, and you start to look at the hypocrisy of the industry and say, well, again, if we can't take care of each other, how are we going to take care of our guests? And I think that one thing that we can do is just figure that part out together. I mean, maybe that's the first step, to deal with these problems that we're all facing. Because if you have a hot dog stand outside or a 3-star Michelin restaurant, we're all saying the same thing about the cost of food. We're all saying the same 100%. Thing about the labor. We're all talking about the same things. But we're not supporting each other in a lot of ways. And I think that we can do a better job at that part.
I love that you say that because, and I think it's just so mature of they're telling me 10 minutes, but we got as much time as we want. This guy doesn't have to jump on the flight till another.
Cut it down. Get all the.
But I feel like there was, I think you posted something once or something. I forgot what it was, but it wasn't like an apology to the industry, but it was kind of like, hey, all these things I thought, I forget what it was, so maybe you could remind me. It was like, you made a post about, hey, like something to the industry, like how you love this industry. And, it's not like you apologize, but you, at some point in your life, maybe you were having the same thoughts about certain characters in the industry. Like, why does he get to do that? Or who is that? Or that's whatever that is. Like maybe it was about Guy Fieri or, like who is this guy on this show getting all this stuff, and you kind of went back, and it was a moment that I remember. I was like, oh, Michael's like fucking, he's kind of like in the same spot where I'm at there, where it's making a lot more sense in your life. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe you took for granted some of these relationships that you decided not to have with people, and then like it just all of a sudden it became more clear to you.
I was insecure about who I was friends with.
Maybe that's what it was.
We all are like, and it's like I need this person to accept me, and I need and the problem wasn't with me. The problem was that they didn't accept me.
Yes,
They created this thing that was wrong with me, not knowing me at all, and it was really strange because, again, I idolize. And to this day, I have so much respect for the work that we all get to do and the guests that we get to do it for. And I'm thankful for the things I have in my life because of this industry that I chose to be in.
Yeah.
And I think it's so cool that it's still going. But
it's also like now I see you, like I've seen you've done Throwdown a bunch of times with Fieri. Right? Is that Throwdown? No, that was with Bobby Flay. You've done stuff with Guy Fieri in the past, right?
Well, that's the next part of, the entertainment side of what we do. I mean, I'm lucky to be working with Food Network in a big way now, and that became another goal. I got to go compete against Bobby on Iron Chef, and I just remember seeing him and how what a warrior he was, and being like, wait, I didn't know about that part, and now I want to be like that guy.
Yeah.
And going and just watching Bobby in that environment, and if you think back to like the Iron Chef, the Morimoto rivalry, and all that stuff back in the day, and I was just like, that is so cool. So much like I wanted to be like those other chefs in the fine dining kitchens before. Now I'm like, oh, well, maybe that looks
fun.
Like that looks really fun, and that looks amazing, but it's also still very serious cooking. Yeah. So maybe I can do it the way he's doing it, and I got to get exposed to that a little bit early on, but then again, that's 10 years ago. Yeah. So to then turn that into what it is now, where like we have Triple Threat and we get to work together, like Bobby's my boss. Totally. And I call him chef. Yeah. It's not like, hey Bobby, I'm like, hey, what's up, chef? Like he's my chef in a different way than I've experienced in my career. And what's crazy is that's a part of my career that I really loved, because I had this person that I could go to and ask, how do I navigate through this? Or how do I, when you're a line cook or a sous chef or whatever, you always had this person that you can, and then when you become the chef, you're just expected to be that person for everybody. And so with Bobby, and some of the other chefs on Food Network too, a lot of them have been very helpful with a lot of that stuff. Now I have this whole other network of chefs that know about something that I don't know about, and here's another chance to go stage, go learn, go be a part of something that I don't know about.
Yeah, like Bobby's opened 60 franchise burger places in Canada all of a sudden, like learn about the franchise. It's so funny because when I was right off Top Chef, I had a PR company, which one of my best friends owned, Charlie Dugiello. I don't know if you guys ever ran into him, but they wanted to brand me, and I had never thought about branding before, but they wanted to brand me coming off the show as the bad boy chef, like the guy that just wants to disrupt everything, right? And I used to go to food festivals. I don't know if you guys remember, but I used to go to food festivals and do my own thing. Like I'd throw like a one-off volleyball contest with swimsuit models, or I do like which was amazing, by the way, or I do like an activity like for just chefs, and I would like disrupt everything. Like Lee Schrager would be mad because I wasn't like a condoned event, but I did it anyways, and all the press would come. I would make fun of Guy Fieri or Amber Rail, and they put me in this place where I was just kind of the guy that was just like, fuck you, the Food Network, but trying to be on the Food Network. It was like a very weird space for me. And over time, that was very taxing to me, man. Like, I was just like, I got to get away from this, like, perceived bad boy, like, thing or a negativity, because it's not serving me, right? And I remember I showed up at, like, for instance,
so it's not really who you are. I mean,
it's
definitely not the guy we got to know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I remember, like, the day, like, it was, I guess I had really fucked up because they wanted me to impersonate Bobby Flay at the Burger Bash. Do you guys remember this by any chance? No. So I had learned that Bobby wasn't going to be at the Burger Bash, which he was at every year. And I basically had a booth right next to Michael Simon, and I know they have such a close relationship. So I made my booth the Bobby Flay booth, right? And I had look at you guys.
What? I wasn't
Bobby,
there that year.
Bobby to this day still hates me probably for it, but I had blown up balloons that said Bobby Flay. I wore all Bobby Flay's t-shirts. I put like fucking freckles on my face and dyed my hair red. And I had like bought Amazon cookbooks of Bobby Flay, and I had a line around the fucking corner, like, and I was just Bobby Flay. Everybody thought it was Bobby Flay booth, and they would come up, and it was just me with my hamburger, and it was just like this thing. And Michael Simon right next to me was looking at me, laughing. He's gonna fucking kill you when he sees this, right? And it was the fucking moment where I left the festival, and I was just like, "What the fuck am I doing? Like, what am I doing this for?" And I just had to do some digging, and I basically stepped away from media for a long ass time. I didn't do any shows or anything for a long time because I was like, I just felt weird at that point. Do you know what I mean? And I was kind of the guy that would always shit on Guy Fieri. And at some point, I'm like, why am I shitting on a guy that I don't really even fucking know that well? And of course, now years have passed, and Guy's a fucking great guy. He does great things for the industry. You guys have been on his stuff. So it's just kind of weird how the TV thing put me in this category, which wasn't really who I was, to be honest.
Yes and no. I mean, but also I just think it's you get a taste of it. Maybe this is what happened to you a little bit, and you feel like, okay, in order to maintain this, because this is now a different thing that I get to do, and I'm not going to the same kitchen every day. How do I maintain this?
That's what it was.
And these people are, I'm going to do these things to disrupt all of it. And what's really interesting, Bobby loves food so much, and I've learned that from him now.
Yeah.
He puts food first, and who better to have on the Food Network,
Than a guy that loves food.
than somebody that loves food, but has also gone through all the same restaurant stuff as we've gone through. And I think with Guy, it's similar too. I mean, he was operating a restaurant in Sonoma or up in Windsor, California, or whatever, Johnny Garlic's and like Tex Wasabi's, and like he was a restaurateur back in the day too. And then again, like Next Food Networks. But what happened was there's this place called the Food Network that I happen. This isn't a commercial for it,
Totally.
by no means,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna give you my perspective on it. It's such an honor to be a part of that, because food is what we've lived off of. We've built our lives off of. And now there's this place that continues to spark and spread that curiosity to everyone.
Yeah.
And those guys have been doing it for so long. Again, you think about somebody, how long have you been cooking? Oh, I've been cooking for 20 plus years. These guys have been doing that stuff for like 20 plus
Yeah.
years and cooking another 20 plus years on top of that.
Yeah.
And you take it back to like the beginning of all of this entertainment stuff. Like, I think in the beginning it was less about entertainment and more about education.
Yeah.
And I think that I think it's now both, which is why it's gotten so big.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it created this so many different diverse career paths for so many different people to get into this industry.
Yeah.
But we were all just, because it was so new and we thought it was our shot back then, it was like,
That's what it was thought.
but think about
exactly.
those decisions.
Oh my
like,
God.
do I do Top Chef? Like, is this going to end my whole serious cooking career?
Yes.
And the reality is like all those insecurities and stuff, I don't know where they came from.
Yeah.
We were all navigating through stuff that was pretty new.
Yeah.
But now pretty awesome, because
Yes.
we're sitting here talking on a podcast, and you should definitely have not done the burger thing
Definitely
impersonating
not.
Bobby. 'Cause I don't know what your all's relationship looks like, but
No, tell Bobby I love him next time you see him, and no hard feelings. By the way.
I don't even call him Bobby. Like, I'm still Chef.
Tell Chef I love him.
And it's but these opportunities they're just still so cool. Like, it's cool that people are interested in what we get to do. I
Yeah.
keep saying that, like what we get to do. And
It's a
I
nice
also
way to
think
put it.
that
What we get to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it also continues to drive people towards the fine dining restaurants, the really the top of the top restaurants too, because now it's like, oh, I experienced that. Now I wonder what that's like. And so we're all helping each other keep this industry going. And I think that's the focal point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of things sometimes that people see now on TV, because even though they can't, like, you'll sit at a table and it creates curiosity. If you're dining in a restaurant, that requires you to think about what's happening on the plate, you know what I mean? Or maybe a technique or something, or an ingredient that you've never been exposed to. And now, because, there's social media too, but also just like the amount of discussion that happens in food, especially in competitions, about how it's created, where the inspiration was, what the technique was lacking. Now guests are coming to our restaurants with that knowledge. You know what I mean? So they're more educated when they sit at the table.
Palate. Yeah.
And so it sparks curiosity. It opens up dialogue between the servers and eventually even the chefs. As we come out, we start talking to our guests more and more about food. We'll give them a little bit, so that way that they learn enough to come into the restaurant. We still, now it pushes us to do more,
Yeah.
to continue to push the envelope to get better at what we do, and seek out new opportunities and new dishes and new ideas, because we have to move faster than what we're showing them how to do on TV. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like it keeps the creativity going. It keeps the industry alive. It keeps things moving, and keeps the connectivity to the guests. And that's why I really enjoy it, because information moves so fast now.
Yeah.
And like, I don't even know if I've made a point in all of that, but like, my point is just,
What is your point, Brian?
I
know.
got four points out of that.
There's
I think.
4 in there,
Three,
maybe. Yeah.
4 points.
No, but
We'll get it.
I do enjoy. I'm glad we get to be a part of the evolution of where industry has
Yeah.
gone. And
So how much greater is it working together now with you two? Tell people, because I know we're at the end and we're at time almost here, but I want people to know what you guys are up to, what you have going on.
For me, this is the best part of my career.
It is, right? It has to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's now if not that we're getting into the golden years, that's what I'm trying to get at,
Yeah.
because we're older.
Listen, we're all
more mature
bit
now.
right now. Yeah.
And I love where we are now, because not only I get to work with my best friend, my partner, and somebody I envy, and somebody that inspires me to do what I do.
Yeah.
And I get to do this every day now. You know, which is really important to me, because I never knew if we were going to get there. You know, and I'm glad we did. Is it harder? Yeah, because working with this guy and for this guy, and alongside this guy, we push each other, and so. And I think that we need that. I'm glad that we were able to do that. Because there's no bullshit here, and I think that's what's great.
I think it's beautiful, and I've enjoyed watching you both grow, like, individually. I've been a fan, as you know, and then now I see you guys working together, and it kind of warms my heart a little bit. I'm like, damn, like, they fucking made it. You know what I mean? Like, in my mind, like, that's how you guys made it. It's like you guys are doing concerts together. Tell us the restaurants you have. So
we have Voltaggio Brothers Steakhouse, which we've had now for 8 years, partner with MGM. We have Volcania, which is on the West Coast in Mammoth Mountain, an amazing resort area, and we love to be able to be a part of that. We snowboard, yeah.
Okay.
And then we just opened White Oak Tavern, in Frederick, Maryland. We opened back in December, so it's our newest project together. We got to come full circle. We started in a hotel in Frederick, Maryland. Yeah, that's where we started our career, and now we just opened in a hotel in our hometown, and it's been fantastic to bring that full circle for Michael for us to collaborate in our hometown.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about what White Oak is all about.
White Oak is it's a modern tavern. It leans into steakhouse inspiration, ingredients from the region. We're cooking with Chesapeake, ingredients from the area. It's a culmination of our 60 plus years of.
It's just good food.
It's just good food.
It's
we're
cooking
I know.
delicious food that people can come eat multiple times a week in our hometown where we grew up. And I think it's a little bit more elevated than just dinner. Yeah. But it can be that if that's all you're looking for too.
But people do try to put us in a box. Like, what is this restaurant? You know what? I'm going to take a step back and say this is exactly that. It's a culmination of our career, where we are right now.
We have prime rib on the menu. Yeah. But we also have some of the tweezer
good
stuff.
Mashed potatoes.
But we also have an tweezer stuff. And it's just a place to go eat. It's a restaurant.
Yes. Yeah. Imagine that.
Exactly. We're gonna get good food, great service, and hopefully just a good time.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything new coming around the corner that we don't know about? Like a new restaurant?
We're always working on things, but
we're still trying like it's the first day. You know what I mean? Totally. And I think my favorite part about this chapter is what Bryan just said, is that we get to do a lot of this stuff together, and we just wasted a lot of time not doing that. And I think that as much as we can do that is great, but we also have our individual interests too. We're not the same person,
of course,
but we get to do a lot of the same stuff, and we're both just extremely grateful for all that. I mean, there's a lot of people that. Again, the kitchen culture's changed completely too, and I think I'm embracing and learning a lot of that now too. And it's just like, why were people so mean to us, and why were we so mean to people?
Yes.
And now it's like, imagine how much time we could have saved back then if we just
were a little bit more level-headed and
took care of each other.
Took care of each other. I like the way you put it. It was about taking care of each other in this industry.
Somebody said to me once, "How are you gonna talk to your food runner that way, and get so upset, and then the next person they're gonna go talk to is a guest?" So from the time they walk away from you and walk through that little swinging door into the dining room, they have to take this look of
disgust
and then smile and then represent you and be your cheerleader. And how do you and it's just because I was angry all the time too, and I did all that kind of stuff. And
we all just we got shit thrown at each other. We threw shit at people, yelled. I mean, but it's changed.
It's time we all just. Yeah, we got to keep this thing going somehow.
What are some what's the TV? Give me some TV creds. What are you? You just did something, right? Didn't you just do like a 24-hour show or something?
Oh yeah, 24 and 24. It's already aired. It's out there now. I was runner-up again.
No, runner-up curse, baby.
No change there.
Well, I felt good for Marcel when he finally won.
That was amazing. Yeah.
Right,
so he was in first season. I was in second. Yeah, it's actually it's cool. You know, I followed him, you know, on that one, and yeah, I got all the way to the end. John Sawyer took it. He's an incredible cook. He knocked it out of the park.
Yeah,
So,
pretty difficult though, that show, right?
that was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Is
And
it?
that was the thing. Like, we judged it the first season. Michael and I went on. I think it was like a 10th hour. I can't remember. And then, of course, you know, I was like, oh, there's another thing I've never done. You know,
Yeah.
I want to go try to stay up for 24 hours and cook 24 hour, you know, challenges straight. Why not? At, you know, the ripe old age of 49. So I did it. I went all the way. It was the hardest day of my career, but it was good.
And you're like a staple now at the Food Network with a couple shows that you're
I have the
on.
best job on the planet. I mean, I'm grateful for that. You know, getting to do Triple Threat with Brooke and Bobby, and now Aisha, who has Shuka and Shuket in New York.
Yeah.
It's just
She's killer.
we get
Aisha's
to
killer.
learn so much together, but also it's the level of people that come through to compete brings so much in that we get to learn too. So
Yeah.
it's about putting yourself in those situations where you get to absorb all this information, and it's so fun.
And you have a new season that's just launching, I
New
guess?
season September 2nd.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And tell us, let's finish off with a little tequila. Tell us a little bit about the tequila company.
yeah, we have a little-
You didn't bring any tequila today, but it's all right. It's fine.
Mercado 28. I went down to Guadalajara with our partners and produced what I think is a really, really good product. I mean, a really delicious tequila. I was in Tequila Town. I was in Jalisco. Bruno and his family is producing it for us. They created Reposado as a category. So that's who's making our Reposado. His family created Reposado as a category. We have a Grape Blanco. It's where you can buy it now
can buy
around
it
here.
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
beautiful.
it's getting state by state. We're getting into different markets now, but you can get it on the website and stuff too. But there's no additives added to it. It's just, again, I guess my point is everything, whether it's TV, the restaurants, our relationships, tequila, tea.
Yes.
I think we're addicted to this ability to get to learn more, and just the possibilities have become endless for us. I mean, what a cool job we all have.
It's an amazing job.
Like-
And you know what? It's only, and like to the young chefs out there, you know, if you guys want to say some of them, I'll say some of them first, is like, take your time in this industry and support each other. All right. And also, don't be afraid to work for fucking free, goddammit, okay? Because you learn a lot of shit as a stage. But just take your time and do it right. And yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Like you said, take your time. You said it a couple of times in that statement. I think it's really great because we get new people who come in and, you know, it might be their first kitchen job, or maybe they're coming from, you know, transitioning from, you know, full service, or, you know, fast casual to full service. Where we're at right now in the world is everybody thinks everything needs to be instantaneous, you know, even learning how to cook, right? Cooking is, there's so much patience involved to do it the right way, you know, and that's the part. It's like trying to get people to slow down, you know, and it's not like, you know, let's do it twice, not that whole thing, but it's more about just caramelizing onions until the point where they're truly caramelized, and not, you know, taking the 45 minutes or more, even hour it's going to take to get there.
I think it's the whole taste it before you take a picture of it.
Yes.
And that too.
Yes.
How about that?
Yeah. How about we start there? Don't you hate that? Like fucking 30 minutes of pictures before
But
they even hit
not just the guests, but us in the kitchens too. It's like, you know, anyone can. I could.
Oh,
take,
you're like,
I
look
could
what I'm
stack
doing.
these bottles and make these look really interesting and cool. But like, what is it made of? And taste it. You know. And I think we just visually we're so drawn to these things that stimulate us like this. And sometimes just close your eyes and.
Yeah.
By the way, this is a cool looking can, but it is one of my new favorite teas. So
Dude, like
thank
it
you.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's really
Listen,
good.
You can carry us at any restaurant. Guys, this is absolutely a pleasure. I got to have you back on at some point, both of you or individual, whatever it is, because it's just, you're such a breath of fresh air to talk about. I'm a big fan of what you guys have done, of your restaurants. I've eaten at them. I've watched your shows, and you guys are rock stars. And I love what you represent in the industry. I love that you guys have come together to work together. So congrats on that. It's a hard thing to do, especially where you guys came from such different backgrounds. And I guess last but not least, tell people where they can find you, websites, social handles, little brag session.
I'm just easy at Bryan Voltaggio. You'll find me there.
At Voltaggio. I think I'm on Instagram. Twitter, is that still?
No, you're on
X.
Instagram.
I'm on
X.
Instagram
You're on
and
X.
X. No,
Xtagram.
X and Instagram.
Instagram.
Voltaggio.
Are you guys not doing the
TikTok?
The other TikTok yet?
No, I'm not. I can't.
I don't know how.
I don't know how either. I don't know how to dance.
Well, listen, guys, it's been a pleasure to have you. We'll have you back. Mike, we're waiting for you to move to the DMV, bro. Come on.
He's here.
West Coast.
Just, yeah.
Comes back and forth. He's here enough.
I'm here a lot. I mean,
he's
I
here
might
a
as,
lot.
I don't know where
He's
I
here
live
in 2
anymore.
weeks. He's here in 2 weeks.
In between, I'll be with him in LA.
Yeah,
so
you guys.
it's like,
Yeah, you do.
yeah, 'cause
you guys cross.
We're cooking with Marcel next week.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, what do you have next week? The
Malibu
food
Malibu
and
food
wine.
and wine, yeah.
Shout out to Marcel. By the time this airs, they would have been already happened.
Yeah.
All right.
Hopefully it's good dinner.
Yeah.
A huge thank you to our title sponsor, Events DC, the official convention and sports authority for the district and a key player in making some of DC's most exciting events and experiences happen. From world-class sports to cultural festivals and everything in between, they help power the energy of the city. Check out eventsdc.com to see what they're cooking up. A shout out to our broadcast home, DC Central Kitchen, for not just feeding people, but fueling real change. If you want to support their mission or get involved, head to dccentralkitchen.org. You can catch up on past episodes or subscribe for new ones at intheweedspod.com or on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. The kitchen may be closed for now, but the conversation is still sizzling on our Instagram at intheweeds.pod. So come and join us there. That is a wrap on this shift. See you back in the weeds next time.